Welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, WIZE, and my next guest is a man who has mastered the art of goal setting and has transformed his life against all odds. Welcome to the show, Terry Fossum. Hello.
Well, thanks so much for having me, man. I appreciate everything you're doing to inspire people.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. The pleasure's all mine. You grew up in a challenging environment. What was the turning point that made you decide to change your life?
It was at one of the lowest points of my life, quite frankly, as it is for most people. You know, it's usually you got to hit bottom before you'll start going back up again.
Yeah.
And now, granted, my bottom wasn't as bad as some, but you know, it bears letting people know, because too many people hear all these things about me. You know, #1 best-selling author on Wall Street Journal, #2 TED Talk in the world, top fraction of 1% of my entire industry in the world. It's all that kind of stuff. You know, that might be where I'm at now, but just like anybody who's succeeded, that's not where I come from. And where I come from is a small Texas-Mexico border town by the name of McAllen, Texas. And most everybody's heard of it. If you've watched the news, you see about the border crossings and the cartels coming across and kidnapping people. Home. And, you know, don't get me wrong. I love my hometown. I really do. But it can be a little rough growing up there, sometimes surrounded by gangs and drugs. In fact, I was on the wrong end of an assault rifle in junior high in my own back alley, wondering if my next breath would be my last one. In high school, my dad, was killed. Before he died, one of the neighbors came up to him and said, "I just want to make sure you understand something. Your 3 sons, your 3 boys, not a single one of them's ever going to grow up to be anything." So that's where I come from. You know, in my mind, that's who I am. What he didn't know is he might have done one of the greatest favors for me that anybody's ever done. Because instead of letting that failure continue to tear me down, I used it to build me up. And in fact, because of the lowest point that we can talk about if you like, absolutely, this whole Oxcart Technique, that's the subject of the #1 best-selling book on Wall Street Journal, #2 TED Talk in the world, and the only reason a kid like me succeeded was born. So that's where I come from.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I grew up in one of the worst parts in Brooklyn, East New York, Brooklyn. And when I was growing up, it was at that time the murder capital of in the city. It was I grew up in vacant lots and just a bad neighborhood. And you wasn't expected to come. A lot of people wasn't expected to make it out of the neighborhood.
Yeah,
it was not a real. It was bad. And growing up in the 80s and 90s during the crack epidemic and everything, so I know what it means to come from a bad, rough, tough neighborhood. I was just blessed that I had a mom who kept me straight, who kept me in line, and made sure that I went to school and did what I had to do.
that's it. You know, I think it's important for people to hear this, you know, because they see successful people and you know, they've had a silver spoon or they've had a lucky or, you know, all those kind of things. You know, no. Every successful person that I know, and pretty much all of them that I don't know, they've been through the failures. They've been through the setbacks. They've got the self-perceptions that they're not all that. So most people have been through the fire. But when you're going through the fire, it doesn't seem that way. That's why I love talking about failure. And I love talking about this technique that helped me and so many other people now use that failure to fuel your fire.
So you mentioned the technique. Can you explain the Oxcart technique and how it differs from traditional goal setting methods?
Yeah. And I love doing this. Okay, let's start by dispelling some goal setting myths, shall we? All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get in there. And let me apologize ahead of time if I hurt anybody's feelings. But I'm not really sorry, to tell you the truth. Because listen, 92% of the people who set a goal fail. 92%. And there's a reason why. Well, most of what we're being taught about goal setting is either incomplete or completely wrong. Let me give you some examples. I always put my science where my mouth is. I'm kind of a geek. I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm a geek. I only talk real science, not pseudoscience that's being yapped about these days. Okay, first of all, if you studied any sort of goal setting, any self-improvement at all deeply, then you've heard of the Harvard goal setting study. Most everybody's heard about it. They're still talking about it from stages everywhere. It's been written up in best-selling books around, global bestsellers, and on and on and on. And two reports that you'll hear about the Harvard goal setting study. One is out of everybody who wrote down their goals, just wrote down their goals, that's all. They ended up making more money than everybody else in the study combined. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The other thing that you'll see coming out of that study is every single person that wrote down their goals, every one of them reached their goals. Man, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If it was true. It's not. It never happened. Harvard confirmed it. They said, no, we never did a study like that. So has Yale, that it's been attributed to, and several other places. Well, somebody made it up. Somebody made it up. And it's been repeated so many times that it's gone into goal setting lore. But the truth is, writing down your goals is important,
Yes.
but that ain't going to do it. You're going to have to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next one. And this is the one that really is hurting some people's feelings these days. And again, I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but I do mean to tell the truth, because I don't like deceiving people. And if you're telling something that doesn't work, you may not be meaning to deceive people, but it's not helping them. Okay, here's the deal. Well, have you heard this? All you have to do is put it out to the universe, and the universe will get to work making it happen. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Sure. It's told everywhere these days. It's not true. I'm sorry. They attribute it to quantum mechanics. Now, again, I'm a mechanical engineer. I don't know everything about quantum mechanics, but I know a little bit. And that's not the way it works. Imagine if you were the universe and you had all of these people going, okay, now, universe, I don't want to have to work at this. Here's what I want to have happen. You go to work making it for me. How would you feel about that?
Oh, that would be wonderful.
If I was the universe, I'd be like, you guys are a bunch of spoiled children. Why don't you get up off your butt and get it yourself? You know, it'd be like some kid going, I want a pony. I want a pony. I want a pony. Oh, I don't want to have to work for it. I just want a pony.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, just putting out to the universe is not going to make it happen on its own. You're going to have to work for it. The Lord helps those who help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so does the universe.
Yeah.
Positive visualization, manifestation, mantras, prayer, all those things are very good. I pray many times a day. And again, I'm not preaching religion. Whatever you want to believe is great. I wake up every single morning. The first thought out of my head every morning is, thank you, God, for the gifts you have given me. Please let me use them for your service. But again, Lord helps those who help themselves. You're going to have to get up off your butt. So whereas those things are important, they're not enough. Now, let's go into a little bit more science. Are we good with that?
Let's go.
Okay, you got it. There's something in 1973, Kahneman and Tversky came up with something called prospect theory. Now, prospect theory won the Nobel Prize when they applied it to economics. In 1979, they won the Nobel Prize with this. I'm applying it to goal setting. What it taught us is that we'll do more to avoid pain than to go toward pleasure. Again, we'll do more to avoid pain than to go toward pleasure. We associate pain with getting out of our comfort zone, right? It's painful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's painful. The fears come in, the fear of failure, the fear of ridicule, the fear of success sometimes, all the self-doubts. I'm not good enough. I don't come from the right family, from the right city. I'm not that smart, whatever. All those things keep us in our comfort zone. And because we'll do more to avoid pain than to go toward pleasure, just doing all these positive visualizations, which I was taught, right, isn't enough to get you out of your comfort zone. So here's what happened. I decided I wanted to prove that son of a gun wrong. never grow up to be anything. And I tried, Will, I tried. I started a business and I was terrible at it. I was horrible. I failed so many times. I failed and failed. And I'd learned all the goal setting stuff I could, man. And maybe you can relate to this. You know, you're running this very successful podcast. You're helping a lot of people out there. And so you're into the self-improvement stuff. You are the self-improvement stuff. And I filled my head with all of this. Do the positive visualization, write down your goals, do your dream boards. I did everything they taught me to do. And I tried and I failed. And I tried and I failed. And I tried and I failed. And I failed. And I got to the point where I just couldn't fail anymore. Well, I didn't have the strength to go on. And I walked into my bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, I guess he's right. You're never going to grow up to be anything. And wait a minute. No, for the sake of the memory of my dad, if nothing else, I refuse to let that son of a gun be right? I picked myself up off the ground. I brushed myself. I got pissed, to tell you the truth. I got pissed. All right, let's be real. I know you like to be real on this podcast. Yes. I got pissed. All right. And I brushed myself off. I got back at it. I still hit the same rejection and disappointments and setbacks as before. But now I had something to go away from, not just something to go to. I had something that was more painful to me than the pain of getting out of my comfort zone, than the pain of rejection, of fear and self-doubts, that I'd never grow up to be anything. And instead of letting that tear me down, I used that stick, carrot and the stick. I used it to build a fire inside of me, man. And I used both of them. I had that carrot, something positive visualization that was important to me, not some fancy house and a fancy car. I don't care about those things, but something that was important to me to go toward and something to go away from. Still all about the why, but not why I want to do this. Much more powerful is why I have to do this. And I turned it into a technique that's helped me succeed. It's helped a ton of other people succeed. It's saved marriages. It's helped people lose weight and keep it off. It's even gotten people off addiction. So that's the Oxcart Technique, and that's where it came from in a nutshell.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about setting and achieving goals?
Well, I think that's a lot of it right there. That number one, all I have to do is visualize it and it'll happen for me.
Yeah. And that's
not
all
true. I have to do is, what's that?
I said, that's not true. If people think, like, when The Secret came out, everybody was like, oh yeah, I'm manifesting it. But they didn't realize that they had to put action towards those goals.
Amen.
They thought that, oh, I'm gonna just visualize it and it's gonna pop up. No, if that's the case, anything you visualize will just pop up. No, yeah. you have to put action to those goals.
Amen. And in fact, I believe it actually, not only does it not do any good, it actually harms. Because if you do I shouldn't tear down any brand, but if you do just the positive visualizations, manifestations, etc., mantras, they make you feel good, right? They feel good when you do them, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. They feel great, man. I get that thing in my head and it makes me feel comfortable. So it actually keeps me in my comfort zone. It tells my psyche, all I got to do is just keep thinking about this and I feel fantastic. Oh, I don't want to have to go do the work, face the rejection, the fear, the self-doubts and all those kind of things because that's uncomfortable. So all those things just keep you there. You got to have something that's more uncomfortable, pushing you out of the comfort zone and into your conquer zone.
Yeah. Well, we kind of just touched on it, but like you said, 92% of the people fail to achieve their goals. And how does your method address that?
It works. Let's start there. Well, but here's why. Okay. Emotion, not fact, is the driver of all action. For everybody listening to this podcast, please write that down right now. Emotion, not fact, is the driver of all action. Okay, write that one down. The next one to write down is the decision to succeed does not happen once. It happens every single day. In fact, several times a day. Keep writing, I'll repeat it. by the actions we take or do not take. So let me say that again. The decision to succeed does not happen once. You don't just go to some seminar and get all fired up and that's it. But I'm going to do it. Or, you make the New Year's resolution. I'm going to lose the weight this time. Yeah, right. The decision to succeed does not happen once. It happens every single day. Yeah. In fact, several times a day by the actions you take or do not take. So here's those two together. What this means, you've got to create emotion. Okay. Emotion, not fact, is the driver of act. So you've got to create emotion within yourself. It can't be somebody else doing this at you, to you, for you. It's got to be you. It's got to be the fire from within, because if somebody builds a fire underneath you, you'll stomp it out the second they walk away.
Yeah.
Some boss or something. You build a fire inside yourself and it'll burn forever. So it's got to be emotional. And I mean, the more emotion, the more it's going to drive you. Next, the decision to succeed happens every single day by the actions take or do not take. So here's what we do. We develop that emotion every single day by doing this. Okay, I'm going to give everybody some nuts and bolts. Now, this is still going to be a 60,000 foot level. In the book itself, I give examples of people who have written their Oxcart technique that we're going to talk about. So if you're kind of going, well, I kind of get it. You probably don't get the book. And also we'll talk about some coaching. I've got a podcast that it's going to be one of those, you heard it here first, actually, because this is airing before the podcast even exists, before anybody else is talking about it. So you're going to hear it here first. We'll talk about that at the end. Number one, you take 3 pieces of paper. That's all it is. 3 pieces of paper. On the first one, you write failure scenario. And you write out what happens if you don't reach your goal. Now, again, current culture, oh, you can't do that. You can't focus on failure. It'll happen. Bull, right? Universe ain't going to stick it to you, okay? You're going to use it to inspire yourself. For me, never grow up to be anything. He was right. You never grew up to be anything. Your dad wouldn't be proud of you. Wow, man, emotional. And that fired me up, right? I read that and I go, there's no way in the world I'm going to let that happen. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that doesn't happen. Right? Makes sense so far?
Definitely, okay. Yeah.
There you go. It's kicking you out of your comfort zone. I'll do whatever it takes. What does it take? The next piece of paper is your daily actions. These are the actions you absolutely will take, come heck or high water, toward your goal every day. This isn't go too far on it. These are baby steps that you will take. Smart goals, if you're familiar, of course. Real smart goals. Like for me, it was contact 3 new people a day, do 3 follow-ups a day. And I stuck to that and those kind of things. So exact plan. And then the third piece of paper, now that's your success scenario. That's your positive visualization. That you can put as much emotion as you can. My dad would be proud of me. My wife would be proud of me. I can pay for my health care. I can send my kids to school, whatever school they want to go. The things that really draw emotion out of you. Then in the morning, you read these in order. You read that failure scenario and you go, oh, crap. I better focus on that today so that doesn't happen. What does focus on it mean? Bam, action plan. Okay, I'll do it. Fine, I'll do it. And then because you did it, you read your success scenario. Yeah. Do that in the morning. Do that at night. See what happens.
Wow. So, you was also on a reality show. How did your experience on the survival reality show impact your perspective on goals and resilience?
Well, see, it's also a perfect example because, first of all, they reached out to me. I got an email out of the blue to be on a survival reality show. Get this. Representing all of Boy Scouts of America in my Scoutmaster uniform. And then I found out, and I didn't want to be on a reality show, but there were some prayer things involved. I felt I had to, no choice. And then I found out I was going to be the oldest person on the entire show. And my competitors were going to be special forces guys, military survival instructors, a 4th degree ninja black belt that I'd seen on Naked and Afraid. A mercenary that helped take out Saddam Hussein, and the fat old Scoutmaster, me. So Yeah, I didn't have a chance. Let's face it, I didn't have a chance. But here's the deal. I did the Oxcart technique. Now, winning the show didn't mean that much to me. Now, it was $250,000 if you won, okay, which would be nifty. Don't get me wrong here, right? But that wouldn't drive me to do what I had to do to try to get in shape, okay? What did is I'm representing Boy Scouts of America all over the world. If I fail, if I look like an idiot, it's going to reflect on an organization that shaped my entire life. So I can't fail. That was my failure scenario. It was a strong one. So I went down to the local gym and I talked to a trainer. I said, you got a few short weeks to whip this fat old body into shape. Can you do it? And he basically looked me up and down and went, oh my God, can you? And I was in pain 24/7. I flew into, well, get this, I flew into the Amazon jungle, got somebody to take me in, the Rupanuni to take me into the Amazon jungle so I could learn to survive. I pulled over 100 ticks off me during that time.
Wow.
And I did an enormous amount. I mean, I was just full-time pain, agony, right leading up to the show because my failure scenario was driving me so hard. And my success scenario would be cool too, you know, but that's what drove me. And I did my action plan. You just heard part of it. And Will,
Yeah.
against the special forces guys and the military survival instructors on it, the fat old Scoutmaster won the show. The darn thing works, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you've achieved success in so many areas: business, survival, martial arts, and public speaking. What's been the most fulfilling achievement for you?
Scoutmaster.
Scoutmaster?
Oh yeah. Being able to work right there with the kids and be part of them growing up. Because a lot of time kids, and you know this, they don't listen to their parents, you know. As a parent, I could tell my kids something 12 times. They don't get it. Somebody else comes in and says it once. They go, oh my God, that's amazing. So I got to be that guy. And I'd work with the parents. Okay, where do we need to work, Jimmy? You know,
Yeah.
and then years later, they still drop by the house at Christmas time and to see their success and that they more than, you know, I don't mean just financial success, but to be honorable men and now honorable men and women. Come on, man. There's nothing better.
Absolutely. Definitely not. how is it this difficult or easy for just a regular person to apply the Oxcart technique to their everyday life?
It's easy. It's easy. Now, I say that, and yet it should be a little painful. Okay. If you are doing this right, because again, it's got to be emotion. Okay. It's got to drive you, man. Like I've got an Oxcart for my marriage. I've been divorced. It sucks. I will never let that happen again for two reasons. Number one, I love my wife. Success scenario. Number two, I married an attorney. She'll take me for everything I've got. You know, I say that jokingly, but I did up my failure scenario and I tried, and it's in the book. It's actually in the Oxcart Technique book. And I did an audio book. I did an Audible and I recorded it myself and I had to stop recording several times because I was tearing up trying to read my failure scenario because there's so much emotion in that and in my success scenario. I don't care what happens. There's no way in the world I'm going to screw this up, man. I'm not going to cheat on her. I'm not going to be stupid. I'm going to keep my bodily noises to myself. I'm going to give her little gifts out of the blue for no reason whatsoever and everything else that's on my daily action plan. This Oxcart technique has saved marriages. I've gotten emails. You just saved my marriage. I've had people tell me you just saved my marriage. I had an international weight loss coach in one of my audiences. And she'd lost over 100 pounds and kept it off. And she freaked out over the Oxcart technique. She says, where was this years ago? And started teaching all her people. And then get this, while I was writing the addiction chapter on the book, trying to decide if I really wanted to have an addiction chapter in there. I don't know if it really fit. I don't know. My doorbell rang. And oh, okay. It was one of my housekeeping team. And she, oh, Mr. Fossum, I'm so sorry to bother you. We were cleaning yesterday and I left my favorite sweatshirt here. Do you mind if I look for it? I'm like, you know the house better than I do. Go for it. But something seemed weird. And I followed her up the stairs and I caught her in my underwear drawer. And I was like, okay, your sweatshirt will not be in my underwear drawer. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was open. I was closing it for you. That moment she looks past me. Oh, there's my sweatshirt. It was partway underneath my bed. Like, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. I called my wife. I called her dear. Dear, was there another woman's sweatshirt halfway underneath your bed? Did I mention she's an attorney? Did I mention that?
Yeah.
She said, if there was, you would be the first one to know about it. So I called up the gal's boss and said, okay, she was stealing from me. She won't be in the house again. You decide what you want to do with her from there. They called the next day. And the housekeeper was in tears. And she said, here's what happened. 12 years ago, I was in an accident. 12 years ago, I got addicted to pain medications. Not even my husband knows. Nobody knows. You're the first one to catch me. I was digging through your drawers looking for your leftover prescription pain meds. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. I knew I had to help her, not enable her. Help her, right? Two different things. So I said, okay, here's the deal. Failure scenario time. Here's the deal. You're going to prison. Wow. You're going to prison. Yeah, it's a felony. You're stealing my prescription pain meds. You're going to prison. Of course, the tears are coming down. I let that soak in just for a second. I said, unless, okay, action plan time, that second piece of paper, unless you go to inpatient counseling. And after that, you go to outpatient counseling. And I will follow up to make sure you do it. Thank you so much. No. I will follow up and make sure you do it. Do not thank me now. And then success scenario time. If you do this, you can be free. You can stop lying to your husband. You can stop lying to your friends and family. You can stop lying to yourself. And Will, that's been about 14 years ago. And I'm ecstatic to say that to this day, she's still clean.
Amazing. Definitely.
The chapter's in the book now. I kept it in.
What advice do you have for people who feel that they're stuck in a cycle of failure when it comes to achieving their goals? Because we're so programmed with so much stuff that are holding us back. How do we first of all, we go get the book and use the book to help them. But how does someone start?
Okay, love it. I'm really glad you asked that question right at this moment, because kind of a big announcement. I think they're going to go ahead and do this. I'm kind of pushing them to do this. I did an audio series called Blow the Bolts. It has to do, there's a reasoning behind it, but it's how to get rid of the fears, the failures, in fact, embrace failure, the self-doubts, the excuses, everything that holds you back, the time management, didn't have time for that kind of stuff. Everything that holds you back. I did this audio series. Okay. And of course, the three biggest ones, the most popular ones, were fear, failure, and self-doubts. Okay. I mentioned at the start of this that I'm launching a new podcast. It's called the Comeback Chronicles. Let fire fuel your future, something like that. I don't know. The people smarter than me doing this, right? And as part of that, and you go to comebackchroniclespodcast.com. As part of that, we are giving away those first 3 audio segments that are, I'm proud of these. You know, some things you do, well, you're like, yeah, it was okay. Sometimes you get them right and you're pretty proud, you know? And the accolades from this, and it was, you know, it was sold for several $100s. We're giving away those 3 recordings for free right there on the website. And if you go there and it's not quite up yet, that's because I didn't expect to announce this today. I just got off the team, but Will's like, man, I want to take care of my people. So here you go. So yeah, that's the thing. What it's going to teach you is, first of all, your failures, you're going to learn to love failure. And I mean that. And let's hit it real quick. Are we okay on time? We can talk about that real quick.
We got time. We got time.
Okay, cool. Okay. Listen, Every single person on the face of the earth, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, who succeeded at anything has failed. If you ask somebody, what's the opposite of success? Well, failure, right? No, absolutely not. The opposite of success is not failing. If every single person who succeeded has failed, that means you better be failing. And if you look at, one of the reasons Elon Musk has just taken over the global rocket industry is he's not afraid to fail. He fails faster than anybody else. He fails faster than NASA. He fails faster than anybody else. He gets it done. I want everybody to understand failure is the path to success. Listen to me, as a guy who's failed a lot, okay? It is the path to success. It is not a stumbling block. It is a stepping stone. So if you've had failures, if you keep having failures, from now on, the next time you fail, I want you to go, yes, I'm failing. I'm on the path to success. The past doesn't equal the future. You decide your future. And you've heard it a million times. Failure is not falling down. It's not getting back up.
Yeah.
In fact, if we got time, I'll tell you a story that'll blow your socks off.
No,
Actually,
no, it's definitely something. It is. It's even with I was widowed at 31. My wife passed away.
Oh my God!
My wife passed away in a car accident.
Oh my God!
And I was down. I was
Oh,
lost for a few years. I was just didn't care about anything. This was just down, and so I got to and the amazing thing was she's the one who introduced me to the world of self-development.
wow!
She's the one who prepared, because like where I come from, this is not something we discuss. We don't discuss goal setting. We don't learn about finances. We don't learn about balancing checkbooks. We don't learn about that. And she's the one who introduced me to that. She's the one who kind of, so I thank her, because she kind of prepared me for what was to come. And when I lost her, I lost my best friend.
Unimaginable.
I lost a major part of me, and I was lost for quite a few years, because then after losing her, I reunited with my dad after 25 years of not knowing where he was or anything about him, only to lose him. I go see him Father's Day weekend of 2009. I go see him Friday, Saturday morning, he passes away.
Oh my God!
And then it was just a string of people that were very close to me. I buried two brothers, an uncle and an aunt that played a major role in my growth and my development through the years.
Wow!
And so I was angry. I was angry. I was lost. There was just so much going on, and it was just something inside of me was like, yo, this isn't your path. This isn't what you're supposed to be doing. Let's get back to developing yourself, get back to building yourself up. And so I got the help that I needed. I sought out therapy, started turning my life around, started just building myself back up.
Wow.
And so I was blessed enough to fall in love again with my wife that I'm with now, and been able to start the podcast and turn my life around, and just like that's why I do the podcast, is because I've been down. I've been to the lowest of the low end, and I know what it is to lift myself up and overcome all these hardships and come out better on the other side. Is life perfect? No, but I'm happier. I'm doing things that I love to do, and I get to have great conversations with people like yourself, and hopefully someone can hear this episode and hear your story and see what you've experienced, and be like, man, I want to do that Ox technique.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll help them, because that's what you and I are all about now, because I know there's people like me that are crying out, that I've tried and I've failed and I've tried and I failed. I just keep on failing. And it must be me. No, it's not. It's not you. What you've been taught about goal setting is what's keeping you back. So you can do it. And I hate to be, you can do anything you want to, but the truth is you can. I mean, you're living proof. You're an amazing example for everybody.
Yeah.
How many people would have just, that's it, called it.
Give it up. Yeah.
Give it up.
I could have easily given up, and people, they wouldn't blame me for, they're like, oh man, he's been through so much, I would have given up too. But that's just not what I was meant for. That wasn't my purpose.
Yeah.
And so I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm not where I want to be at yet, but I'm on the right path. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And for everybody listening in, I think it's really important that you're internalizing what Will is saying here, because there's a lot of people listening in that are feeling the same way. I don't know if I'm on the right path. Maybe I'm not supposed to. And all of those things are excuses that we tell ourselves, because getting out of the comfort zone is painful. You know what? The self-doubts, the fears, we've all got them. I've got them. I understand you've got them. Okay. You really can get past them. And I really hope those audios, I really want to encourage everybody. Again, I'm trying to get them to give them away for free, at least the first 3 of them. And they are so helpful. So, please go there and get those things for free on comebackchroniclespodcast.com.
I'll put that in the show notes after this. Comebackchronicles.com. Definitely put it in there. People go out there and download them. Go listen to them. Do what you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's they're putting on there. This is cool. I'm excited about this. If you go on to the podcast, and I'm not sure exactly how they're doing it, but you go on there and you listen to it and you rate the podcast. I think it's on Apple. There's actually going to be a drawing for a $25,000 value to spend a day with me. We'll do a drawing at the end of the year. So that's kind of cool. If that's of interest to everybody, it'll be fun. We'll have fun and we'll make some amazing breakthroughs,
What are some daily habits you can share that can help people start on their goal setting and stuff?
Absolutely. Number one is prayer in my book. Again, you believe whatever you want. Number one is prayer in my book. Number 2 is gratitude. Gratitude. You've got to be thankful for you've got to recognize what you've got to start with. And I've been to those countries. I'm really blessed to do some philanthropic stuff in some really challenging parts of the world. Rwanda. We helped build a school over there to teach marketable skills. Now, why? Because just a few years ago, there was a genocide where over 1 million people were slaughtered. Okay.
Yeah. You got a movie on it. Yeah. Hotel
Rwanda.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's a lot of orphans and widows in Rwanda. You don't got money, you don't live. So what do? They figure out some ways to make money. They're not always good. So we built a school for these folks to teach marketable skills, sewing, carpentry, stuff like that. And I went over there and I looked into these people's eyes. I looked into this one mom's eyes, and most of her children had been slaughtered. And to look at the pain, we couldn't speak. We don't speak the same language.
Yeah.
But the eyes did,
Yeah.
So understanding what you've got going for you. Don't focus on all the negative stuff. We always play the bad conversations, the arguments we have time and time in our head, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And y'all got to cut that out. Cut that out. If you don't have joy in your life, 2 things. Number 1, find joy. Number 2, go help somebody. The best thing you can do to build joy in your life is just go to some pet place and go pet dogs. There's nothing better in the world to me than that right there. Go to an old folks home and go just say hi, pay attention to them, find some cause that's important to you, because nothing will make you feel better than helping other people. So if you're feeling down in the dumps, get up out of your butt, away from the screen, and go help some people. What a difference that'll make in your life. And then understand that the toxic people in your life, get rid of them. Get rid of them. This is all in those audio cassettes too. Get
Yeah,
rid of them. Find the people like Will who are going to build you up and back you up. That's the kind of people you need to hang around. You got to make some changes. If you're there, you must make changes. So develop your failure scenario. What happens if you don't? What happens if you don't? Where are you going? What about to the people who are important to you? How does it affect them? Because we'll do more for others than we'll do for ourselves a lot of times. So develop your own failure scenario. And then develop your own action plan, just the small steps, baby steps, things you can do. And then your success scenario. Make it believable, but understand you're going to keep building it up because the more you build yourself, the more you build your future.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It is something that I've learned personally is as I'm a work in progress. I work on myself every day.
Right on.
And that's what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to work on yourself every day and just improve every day, improve on something. And like I said earlier, am I perfect? No. Um, but I am growing. I'm still learning. I'm trying to be a better person, better than I was the day before. And it's I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in right now, to be able to share these stories and have people listen to the program, and some of to me, once the ones that it's the messages I receive from people.
Right
Is
on.
when people send me message that they've listened to a certain episode and they said, "Oh man, I needed to hear this episode. Thank you so much." Those are the episodes that really make me be like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
This feels right. This is where I'm supposed to be at because I'm impacting someone's life.
Yeah.
And to me, one of the most amazing ones was I had a guest on. We had become friends, and I had her back on the show, but we pre-recorded the show, and for some reason it fell through the cracks, and I didn't release it when we recorded it. So a year later, I was looking for an episode, and I released it. And she saw it, and she seen the description of the episode and everything. And she's like, man, she sent me a message. She was like, was that the show we recorded last year? I was like, yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't release it sooner. She's like, no, thank you. She says, I've been struggling with finding myself for the
Wow.
past few months,
Wow.
and listening to the episode, and and you using one of my favorite pictures in the thumbnail, and just you just talking about me and describing me. And she says, you made me realize, like, she's like, you made me feel like how I've been missing, like how I've been lacking. And that to me was amazing.
Right on.
So even though I hadn't released the episode sooner, I released it when it was supposed to be released.
That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. And as far as you not being perfect, there's only been one perfect person to walk this earth, and I guarantee you I'm not him. But I think that's important for everybody that's listening to understand that, yeah, we're the guys with the microphones and stuff, but we're real people. Okay. We continue to screw. I guess I can't speak for you, Will, but I can
Oh no,
speak.
I screw up all the time. And if you let my wife tell you, I screw up all the time.
I wasn't going to go there, but it's true. We are imperfect people. And we are failing. We are screwing up. I have self-doubts, of course
Yeah.
I do still. So, if you're feeling those, it's natural, y'all. It's okay. It's okay. Not okay to wallow in them. It's
Oh,
okay to accept that you're human
mhm.
and work on getting better.
Oh yeah. Monday, I got I had a doctor's appointment, and I came out. And I was kind of down, and I just was driving, and I live in the mountains. I live in the Pocono Mountains in
Oh,
Pennsylvania
right
now,
on. Right on.
and it was just a beautiful drive. It I just got engulfed in the drive, and it kind of just made my day. It kind of whatever funk I was in, just enjoying the drive and being in the moment, it improved my day. It was just like, okay. I called my wife when I was getting close to home, and I said, "Man, I just had a wonderful drive." She's like, "What you mean?" I said, "It was just I was just in the moment. I was just enjoying the drive and just enjoying life, just in that moment, just enjoying everything around me, enjoying the colors and everything." And it just made me realize, like, regardless of what you're going through in life, man, there's so much good around you that,
Appreciate it.
yeah, just take it and enjoy that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. But take the time to do that. And again, if you're having those negative spiral thoughts, get out of them. Get
Go
out,
out,
pull
yeah, go
yourself
for a
out.
walk. Go outside, go for a walk, do something. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, do something to disrupt those thought patterns. You can
Mhm.
do it. For one thing, stop watching the news. That's part of it.
It's like I'm so glad the election is over. I was,
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? One
I
way or
was,
the other, I'm
I,
glad it's over.
I was tired of just all the commercials and tired from the text messages and like, oh yeah, I'm like, I'm over this. I just want to get back to regular, just get back to normal
Yeah.
and it just and it's and yeah, it's just all the stuff that you watch in the news. Like, you never see nothing positive. You never see. They're always focused on sensationalism and making it. Oh, this is. You never hear a story of puppies getting rescued in a tree or something. It's just something beautiful or amazing. There's always got to be something negative. So I kind of just focus not to. I've tried not to watch much news. So
Well, and that's why it's important. Instead, use that time listening to podcasts like this.
mhm.
Things are going to build you up and make you a better person and get you towards the positive things you want to do and be.
Yeah, definitely it has to. That's why, again, this is why I do the podcast, is because I wanted to, because when I started, it was 2020. The pandemic had
Oh
just
boy.
hit. We was in the midst of another election and all this nonsense and all this craziness, and there was the George Floyd situation and all
Mm,
this,
mm, mm.
and I just felt like I just wanted to put out a podcast that was just focused on positivity, focused on improving yourself and focused on just letting you know that regardless of what you're going through in life, there is there's there's things out there that's to help encourage you and lift you up.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. That's why I focused on, because when I first started, I was it wasn't even an interview. I wasn't even interviewing people. I was just sitting here and I was ranting about what was going wrong
Oh boy.
and then like and then I realized I enjoyed the podcast. I just didn't enjoy the topic. I didn't
Right.
enjoy having the negativity and focusing on what was going on. Oh, what was me about work and all this, and I was like, no, let me start talking to people. Let me start interviewing people, and let me start talking to entrepreneurs, coaches, and all. And I started with a friend of mine. She started her own business, and we had a great conversation. And then that's when I started focusing. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to interview people. I
Yeah.
want to have these conversations. I want them to share their stories, because everybody out there has a story.
You bet.
Everyone has a story,
Yeah.
and if people can share their story, and someone can get something from it, then that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, one of the guests that's going to end up being on my podcast is the founder of Dippin' Dots. So I
Oh,
mean, yeah. This guy, he's made a whole lot of money. And of course, right away, founder of Dippin' Dots, everybody does the same reaction, like, wow, that's cool. That's
oh
cool.
yeah, my daughter loves to.
Oh, there you go. Well, he's got a new product he's coming out with. We'll end up talking about that. But what people don't know is what he went. That's the reason my podcast called the Comeback Chronicles. You know, uh, what he went through was a challenge. I'll just say that because I don't want to take any of the excitement from what his story. Don't want to steal his thunder, but But it's those kind of stories again that people need to hear. They think the path to success is a straight line up, and ain't nowhere close to that.
Nope, not nowhere near it. It's like the meme you see of success being the top of the iceberg, but then under the water you see all the stuff you've been through.
Yeah.
Or people just see the tip of the iceberg, but they don't see the bottom and everything that's been down there, and everything, the freezing temperature and everything everything that you had to struggle to get to the top of that
Yeah.
iceberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When everybody saw me win the show, but they didn't see what I went through to get there. All the pain and tick bites and everything else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I guess I should also say that on that podcast site, there's going to be some new technology where people can actually click a button and ask me a question, whatever question they want. They can
Wow.
actually do that. And I will, not AI, I will answer them. So that's going to be kind of cool. I'm kind of excited about that.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. I'll probably get some great ideas for shows too, because I want to know, what do people need to hear? Some of the questions you asked, I'm like, okay, that's great. That'll be great stuff. Because it's all about helping people.
Oh yeah, no, and I have friends that I work with. I have one in particular who I work with. He's a big supporter of the show, um, and whenever he feels like he wants to share something, he'll share it with me, and I'll listen to him because I know he listens to the show, and he's like, yo, why don't you talk about this and discuss this? Sometimes I would like, and then I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And so recently I had someone on, and he really enjoyed the show. That I was actually interacting in the audience and leaving comments and
Oh,
everything.
wow. Right on.
And we discussed so many different things, and it was based on retirement. And he shared a story about his father, who had retired and was just depressed and down when he retired because he had lost his self-worth,
His purpose.
his purpose. And he didn't like, and then he talked about how he had a cousin who had a bakery, and the father went to work at the bakery, and it brought his spirits back up because now he found his purpose. He found how I'm working and all that. So it's like having those interactions and those conversations that makes me want to continue to keep driving with the show, because it's important. I see the impact that I'm having, even if it's just one person. It's a ripple effect, because now I've helped that one person. Who knows who they go out and help.
Yeah, absolutely. Or don't hurt,
This is true.
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps even themselves. Yeah. And what a blessing. And for everybody that's listening, that's thinking, well, but I don't have a podcast, I'm not making a difference. Yeah, you are. Every single person you are interacting with, that person you smile at going across the parking lot. I had a gal decades ago. I'm walking across the parking lot. I was wearing a yellow shirt, and she goes, "You really look good in yellow." And she just kept on walking. That's all. But it made I'm talking about it decades later. So even if it seems like a small thing, you are making a difference in people's lives. And just like Will said, that makes an effect in the people. If you make their day, they make somebody else's day. They make somebody else's, and that ripple effect. Or if you piss them off, it has that ripple effect also. Be kind, be understanding, for goodness sake.
Oh man, this has been wonderful, man. It's been a great show. I didn't even get to ask all the questions, but it's been wonderful, man. Thank you for being such a great guest. But I do have one question, right?
Sure.
Looking back, what advice would you give your younger self about life, goals, and resilience?
Wow, you can't boil that down, this is going to sound, what's the word, trite, or whatever the word is. Also, don't give up. Don't give up. At one point, I'll tell this very quick story before we end. I was building my business, and I finally built it up to. I was a captain in the Air Force at the time. I was the executive officer for an entire group of nuclear B-52 bombers during the Cold War, and I started a business on the side. And, slow. Like I said, I was terrible at it. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And after that occasion we talked about, that low, I built it up to the point where I was making more money there than with my captain's pay. Not saying much, but it was a lot to me. And man, so I'm there. And then literally overnight, I don't use that word unless it's literally. Again, I'm a geek. Literally, I lost 3/4 of my income, 3/4 of my income. Bam, everything I'd worked for went away overnight. Of course, I was in tears. I was devastated. And I took out a 3x5 card that I still have to this day. And that's been a few decades ago now because, well, I'm old. And on that card, I wrote, "This too shall pass." This too, and I put it up on my bulletin board. And when things would go bad, I'd look at that 3x5 card. This too shall pass. So if you're listening and you're going through something like that, there are listeners right now, I'm sure they're going through some really tough times, man. Some really tough times, or maybe some minor setbacks. Somebody did something to you. Somebody said something happened, whatever. Okay, listen, this too shall pass. And it did. Obviously, I multiplied that income many, 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 many fold and got a lot of other successes along the way. If I would have quit then, if I would have thought that failure was permanent, I wouldn't have kept going. Failure is temporary. This too shall pass.
Oh man, Terry, thank you for being such a wonderful guest. But before we leave, you're gonna get the solo screen and just plug away and let everybody know where they can find your book and the website and everything.
Okay, you got it. Hey, everybody. I hope this has been helpful for you. I truly, truly do. That's why we're here. I think the biggest thing now is comebackchroniclespodcast.com. Comebackchroniclespodcast.com. Now you can go to terrylfossum.com, terrylfossum.com. That's my website, where you see links to my different books, to my private coaching, and all sorts of other cool stuff. So join me there. And I would love to hear from you. If this stuff has made a difference in your life, I want to hear it. If you've got suggestions for me, things that you feel would help people on my podcast, especially, let me know, because I really do want to make a difference. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm passionate about. But listen, you got this. Whatever you're going through, you've got this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Terry, for being such a wonderful guest. Don't leave just yet. Let me close out the show, which I a little bit off the stage, but thank you once again for being such a wonderful guest.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Will. Again, I really appreciate everything you're doing to help people, man, to inspire people.
I appreciate that, and like I said, this is a great show. I had you knocked it out the park, man, and I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
You bet.
All right, everybody. Another episode is in the books. It was a great episode. The time flew by. I wish I had more time to conversate with Terry, but it was a wonderful conversation. Hope everybody gets something from it. Please follow, subscribe if you haven't. Please hit the notification bell. If you catch it live, thank you. If you catch the replay, thank you as well. As always, big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Shout out to the boss lady. Appreciate you and everything you do for me. Big shout out to Terry L. Fossum for coming through and sharing his amazing story. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know how your boy Wise does it? Peace out.